What is up, my Majin Buu crew? It's your boy, King Majin, coming back at you guys with another video. And I know you guys have been waiting for this for a long time for me to post a video, so yeah, I'm back. And I will be coming out today with What If Deku Was a Werewolf, Part 2. If you haven't seen the original video, go check out the playlist on my channel. There will be a possible link in the description down below, so yeah. But anyway, oh yeah, one moment. There was one thing I wanted to tell you guys. If you guys don't already know, my schedule is I post at least 1 or 2 videos every week, so you guys don't worry about that. You will get a video every week, 1 or 2 videos every week, so you guys have that. And for the people who came up with names for the Werewolf King and his lackeys, they will be shown now. For the Werewolf King, I saw a lot of names. Like Finn Ross, I believe that was one of them from World of Warcraft, and a bunch of other stuff like that. But I saw a large amount of people wanting Fenrir to be his name. Loki's son from, Loki's son. So, yeah. From, what mythology is it again? What mythology is it? I can't believe... Yeah, Norse mythology. Norse mythology. That was what I was trying to say. I really enjoyed this name. A lot of you guys commented down below. And I even had a few of you guys talking in the comments about it. So here are all the people who wanted Fenrir to be his name. So yeah. I saw Karma and Higgs talking about this one a lot. How Fenrir can be female and all that stuff. So... yeah, I want to go with Fenrir for this because you guys seem to... the majority of you seem to like this name for the Werewolf King. And for the Werewolf King's, well, soldiers, I went with a few names. But only one of you guys' names stuck out to me to name them. Redundancy. But anyway, I went with Misha and Tekuma. I think that's how you pronounce it, Tekuma. And this one was commented down below by Gerald, by Hug. Oh my god, by Gerald. That's what I was trying to say. Comment down below by Gerald. So I really liked your names. So yeah, I just wanted to shout you guys out there for a minute because you guys really came up with good names and stuff. But that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. Oh yeah. Like goal for this video to get another part is at least at a minimum of 80 likes in the first day. No. 100 likes in the first day. But if the video still gets at least 80, I'll still continue the series, but it just won't be out as fast. So yeah, anyway, 100 likes for the next part. I'll give you 100 likes within 3 days. Yeah, within 3 days, 100 likes. Whew, but anyway, with me done rambling on here, let's get into What If Deku Was a Werewolf, Part 3. Deku would have woken up, gotten dressed for UA, and prepared to go for his first day at, well, UA. He would have been really excited, not scared or anything, because this version of Deku is much more confident. He has that werewolf confidence and swagger, so yeah. He would go out seeing his mom, saying bye to her, and her saying bye back to him, and then he would head out to UA. When he would get to UA, he would be walking to school with almost every girl staring at him because Deku, after becoming a werewolf, he's gotten much taller, much more buff. All that, even without using his powers, his body's changed after the training as well. So, all the girls are looking at him with mouths wide open. Deku would have gone to the Class 1A door, and he would have smelled and heard Bakugo on the inside. He would have sighed, saying, I'm in class with that guy. This is gonna suck. As Deku says out loud. He would then walk in, seeing Bakugo arguing with Ito, because Bakugo put his feet up on the desk, and Ito would be saying, "You are disrespecting this institution by putting your feet up on the desk." And Bakugo would say, who put a stick up your butt? And Ida would then say, "What?" As they would go on to argue a little bit more, Deku would then finally come, breaking up the argument, saying, "Both of you calm down, it's the first day." With Bakugo saying, "Oh, you're here, how'd you get in?" As Deku would say, "Same way you got in, I took the entrance exam." With Bakugo getting mad, saying, "What'd you say, nerd?" And Deku would say, "You heard what I said." As Bakugo would back off after seeing how confident Deku is, being a little bit taken aback by how confident he is as well. As they would be talking, Ida would then remember Deku from the entrance exam, and he would go up to Deku apologizing for his behavior, or for what he said, and also saying how good of a student Deku was because he noticed something more to the practical exam. And Deku would say, "I really didn't notice anything. I just want to smash robots, and then when I saw the girl was in trouble, I ran in to save her." And Neil would say, "Oh, but that still means you are a very good person and a much better student than I." As Deku would then say, "Well, thanks, man. You're pretty good too. I saw how fast you were in the entrance exams." As Neil would say, "Thanks, but I wasn't as fast as you." And Deku would then say, "Don't doubt on yourself." And Ida would then say, "What?" As Deku would then say, "You were the second fastest, and plus you still have room to improve. And I know you were holding back a bit too." As Ida would then say, "What? I was going all out." And Deku would then say, "Okay, if that's what you want to say." And Ida would be like, "What does he mean? Could he possibly be talking about my reciprocal burst? How could he tell that I wasn't using it?" As Ida would then ponder about this fact. As Deku would be there, he would then look and see a bunch of girls staring at him. This would be the majority of Class 1A, with Invisible Girl, Froppy, Yaoyorozu, Jiro, and Mina. Jiro? I think it's Jiro, but anyway. They will all be staring at Deku, just looking at how buff and all that, and it will just be drooling over him at this point, because Deku emanates that animal magnetism to women, and they are really digging that. As they will be staring, Deku would then walk up to one of them, and this one would be Froppy. He would start talking to Froppy, flirting a little bit with her as she starts to blush a little bit. But as they're talking and Deku's flirting, Ochako would then appear behind him saying, "I know that wild hair from anywhere. You're the guy from the entrance exam, aren't you?" And Deku would say, "Oh, you're the floating girl." And Ochako would then say, "Yep." And Deku would say, "You're the one who threw up." And she would say, "Can you please forget about that?" And as they would be talking, getting along pretty well, with her asking with Deku asking, "Is she okay?" And she would say she's fine, that Recovery Girl healed her and everything. And he would continue to talk to both Ochako and Froppy, as all the guys in class get a little bit mad that this guy's just stealing all the attention from the ladies. As they would be talking, Aizawa, aka Razorhead, will come up behind Ochako saying, "If you just came here to flirt and make friends, you can go now." At this time, both Ochako and Froppy would blush after Aizawa was so blunt about this, and Deku would then say, "So he must be the teacher." Not really surprised about how Aizawa popped out of nowhere, because he could smell and he could hear him, because his senses are much better than the average human. After this whole interaction, they will all sit down, and Aizawa would say, "It took you guys 8 seconds to be quiet. That won't do." And then he would then say, "You guys, meet me at the sports field." At the sports field? That's what I believe it's called. But whatever. And put on your UA gym uniforms. Now Ochako would then ask, "What about the assembly?" And Aizawa would then say, "Here at UA, I have the right to run my class however I see fit. And a pointless assembly is just a waste of time. So go out, get into your uniforms, and meet me outside." As they will all go getting into their uniforms. Afterwards, they will all head out, and Aizawa would toss Deku a baseball, ask him what was his farthest distance throw in middle school, and Deku would then say, at least 55 meters. And as Aizawa would then say, use your quirk with it. And as Deku would say, is that okay? And Aizawa would then say, yes, it is okay. Deku would then get Aizawa to back up, and he would then take a stance. He would then transform into a werewolf in front of everyone's eyes, as everyone looks on, shocked, saying, whoa! That quirk's incredible, he can become a werewolf! Bakugo would be looking on at this saying, so that's that guy's quirk. It's not as cool as mine. Just grunting about how much better he is than Deku. And as all the girls would then look on saying, my werewolf fantasies. And as Ochaku would then say, I know, right? All of them would start to look at Deku and talk about him. Deku would see this and he would then weak in his werewolf form towards them, causing everyone to squeal. Seriously, Deku is a Chad right now. He would then throw the ball as hard as he can, causing it to go, well, a very long distance. He would then transform back into his normal form as the ball is moving away. Aizawa would then hold up his phone, showing a distance of 906.4 meters, as everyone looks on impressed about how far he threw the ball. And after this, the physics exam would go pretty much the same, with Deku coming in second place, because of him being much stronger than most people there, and his quirk being more suited to physical activity than anyone else's. The only one who would beat him would be Yaoyorozu, Momo, because her quirk allows her to make pretty much anything for any situation, and she did win originally in canon. So yeah. After this, Deku would then start to head home until Ochako, Froppy, and Ida would then walk to the station with him. They will all be talking about how cool Deku's quirk is, and yeah. After this, they will all go to the station and split up after this. At this time, Fenrir, Misha, and Takuma would be talking, until they would then notice something. A wolf approaching them. They will all be on their guard saying, what are you doing here? Fenrir would say. And this wolf would then say, I'm here to deliver a message. As Fenrir would then say, what's the message? And as Misha and Takuma would then say, you know you're not even supposed to be here. As this werewolf would then say, both of you shut up. The message I come to deliver is that of war. As Fenrir would then say, what? As the werewolf would then say, a message of war. Is your old age getting to you already? As Fenrir would then get mad. He would then say, so, the rumors are true. She's back, isn't she? And as this werewolf would then say, yes, she is. This werewolf would then say, this war, it will be a bloody one. But because of your inability as a leader, the werewolves have become that much more of a myth, with humans populating this world. And as the Werewolf King would then say, you and your ideals. This world is for everyone, not just werewolf kind. And as this werewolf would then say, those are your beliefs. With our powers and our abilities, we should be ruling them. And we hear that you've even brought one into your ranks. Izuku, was it? Or Deku? As the Werewolf King would then grow in size, saying, how do you? And this werewolf would then say, I just know. I can't believe the Werewolf King, one who speaks about purity of werewolves, would turn a lowly human into one of his pack members. And as the Werewolf King would then say, You have no right to question me. And this werewolf would then say, Fenrir. As the werewolf king, Fenrir would then say, you do not have the right to speak my name. And as the werewolf would then say, you are not my king. As Fenrir would then look on, saying, boy, you believe you have any ground here. I could kill you if I wanted to. And as this werewolf would then say, then try. But know this war is coming. There is nothing you can do about it. And we will have blood. Maybe we'll start with him. And as Fenrir and Misha and Tokima would then attack this wolf, he would then run away as fast as he could. And as they would begin to give chase, Fenrir would then tell both of them to stop. As Misha and Tokima would then say, why? After what he's done, after what he's threatened to do, we will just let him go. And as Fenrir would then say, it's probably a trap to lead us in. Stay calm. And as both Fenrir as both Misha and Tokima would then say, okay, but we need to warn Deku. In due time. I care for the boy as much as you two, but we need to prepare. We need to get the rest of the pact together. As both of them would then look on, saying, the entire pack hasn't been together in years. And as Fenrir would then say, good time for anything. And they would then say, what? And Fenrir would then say, I mean, best time for everything. New lingo and all that. And as both of them would then laugh a little bit because the Werewolf King did make a joke. Or a joke in their sense, because it's funny that he tried to talk different from how he normally does. But anyway. They would then all begin to, split up to go get the rest of their pack. They will all still be worried about Deku because they all see him as family. They see everyone in their pack as family, but him especially. They will then, they would split up. Yeah, I already said that. And that would be it. They would split up. After this, Deku would then go home, all that and that. And the next day, he will begin hero training with All Might. They will all go with All Might, get into their costumes, with Deku's costume being his costume from Season 2, but with a darker shade of green and a yellow belt instead of the red belt, with green shoes as well. As Deku would be looking on at everyone's costumes, and all the girls would be checking him out, looking at his costume. At this time, both Ochako and Tsuyu, or Sue, I'm just gonna stick with Froppy, both Ochako and Froppy will be looking at Deku. They'll go over complimenting his hero costume, as Deku would then say, I like both of yours too. And Ochako would then say, mine's a little tight. And Deku would then say, it sure is. As Ochako would then cover up a little bit, blushing. With Tsuyu, Froppy blushing as well. As you can see Deku looking at her too. They would then tell him to stop, and Deku would then say, I can't help it. As they would both blush even more. Around this time, All Might would have explained about their heroes versus villains training, and how they will be drawing lots. For this, I believe this pairing works. Green Team versus Bakugo and Ida. I'm just switching out Chaco here because you guys all know what I'm planning the ship to be. Or do you? But anyway, this is going to be the fight for now. They will then head into the building after giving the villains 10 minutes to set up. And Deku, once he walks in, will transform almost immediately, growing in stature with his teeth getting sharper and his muscles getting bigger as well. With Tsuyu saying, I didn't know you had this many parts to your quirk. As Deku would then say, yeah, I have two. I can go into a partial form, where I just broke up my body, or my full form. But I don't go into my full form, because full form too early, because I only can hold it for 10 minutes without losing control. And she would then say, oh. And Deku would then say, but at nighttime I can hold it pretty well. With her saying, are you a real werewolf? And Deku just laughing. Not really saying no and not really saying yes, as she starts to laugh too. As Deku would then sniff around saying, I know where the bomb is, and I know where Bakugo is too. And she would then say, why do you, as the explosion would then come from around the corner, with Deku pushing her out of the way. And Deku would then say, because I knew he would come charging at me. As Bakugo would then say, we finally get to go one-on-one, you damn nerd. As Deku would then say, we finally do. And this time, I can defend myself. As Deku would then say, follow my lead, Tsuyu. As she would then nod. He would then say, on my mark, you attack. And don't forget, cover your ears. Whispering it into her ear as Bakugo was looking on. Bakugo would have got tired of this and prepared to come at Deku. But to his surprise, Deku would then start howling at him, sending a large sound wave towards him, causing Bakugo's ears to be damaged and him to be thrown off balance. At this time, Tsuyu would then come charging at Bakugo, trying to capture him with capture tape, but Bakugo would then bear through the pain of his ears and send an explosion towards her. But Deku would then grab her by the arm, pulling her away from the explosion. Deku would then tell her, no offense, but you're probably just gonna get in my way here. And she would then look down a bit, as Deku would then say, don't take it that way, but Bakugo's just really strong, and your quirk isn't really suitable to fight him. Go check where the bomb is, and I'll take care of this, and I'll be there to help you if you need it. And she would then say, she would nod and then go off. Bakugo would then say, so, the extra's gone. And Deku would then say, you really need to stop calling people extras. But compared to me, you're the extra, Bakugo. As Bakugo then gets so mad, he will blast at Deku, with Deku coming in too, with the both of them swinging blow for blow, with Bakugo using multiple explosions, with Deku coming at Bakugo, hitting him in the gut all over the place, causing him to spit up a bit, but Bakugo wouldn't relent, and he would keep firing explosion after explosion. These explosions would be taking their toll on Deku, as he will begin to back off a bit because he's a close range fighter. He has to be close in order to deal damage, and Bakugo is just keeping Deku back at this point. Around this time, Tsuyu would then get towards the bomb, seeing Ida pretend to be evil, and she would then laugh the same way Ochako did, like in canon. Ida would then notice her, and she would then begin to jump from wall to wall all over the place. Not like really fast, just jumping off multiple surfaces. Not Gran Torino level of skill, but just still, she's jumping from place to place basically. She would be jumping from place to place, trying to get the bomb, with Ida mostly avoiding her, moving the bomb from the area, as she's trying to get towards it, and this would repeat for a good amount of time. At this time, we will cut back to both Bakugo and Deku fighting. Deku would have gotten used to Bakugo's patterns with his explosions, and will begin to dodge, parrying his blows, and coming at Bakugo with some of his own. As this would be going on, Deku would then block one explosion, hitting Bakugo in the face with a good right hook, sending him flying back. He would then grab Bakugo, slamming him into the wall, kneeing him into the gut. Bakugo would then prepare to launch an explosion in Deku's face, but Deku would then, from point blank range, would then scream, or in this case, howl into Bakugo's face, causing his ears to bleed because of the noise, and for him to be thrown off, not being able to focus his explosions because of the pain and the noise. Deku, as he would be doing this, he would be punching Bakugo, kicking him into the wall. He would then grab Bakugo, slamming him into the other wall across from there. He would then come at him with a clothesline into that wall, causing a crater to be formed there. Or, yeah, a crater to be formed on the wall. As Bakugo would then be pretty mad after the onslaught he just got. He would then blast Deku away. Bakugo would be standing there bleeding a little bit and barely able to stand. As he would then say, "So you think you're tough, you damn nerd." As Bakugo would hold out his hand, pulling a pin from his goblet, with All Might yelling over the monitor saying, "Young Bakugo, if you do that, you'll kill him." As he would then say, "If he doesn't dodge, he'll die." As Bakugo would then release the explosion from the gauntlet towards Deku. As the explosion would then hit, smoke would fill the air. As Bakugo would think, "I got him." As the smoke would then fade, Deku would then appear, fully transformed into his werewolf state. As Bakugo would look on, Deku would then look at Deku saying, "Huh, is that all you got?" And he would then howl, his full wolf howl at Bakugo, sending him flying through multiple walls, causing him to pass out and be taken out of the battle completely. As this would be happening, Deku would then transform back into his semi-wolf state, or his wolf-powered-up state, as I would call it. He would then think, "Whew, if I hadn't transformed, that would have really been bad. I would have been severely injured," Deku would be thinking. But he would then smile, saying, "But luckily I had that form." Deku would then realize that Tsuyu probably needs his help by now, and he would then run off to go help her. He would run in, seeing Tsuyu struggling with Ida to get the bomb. As Deku would then walk in, with Ida thinking, "What happened to Bakugo?" As Deku would then whisper into Tsuyu's ear saying, "I'll take care of Ida, you get the bomb." As Ida would then overhear this and say, "You heroes think you can get the bomb?" As Ida would then try to run away with the bomb, Deku would then come up, speeding towards Ida, and this would be just, Deku wouldn't be beating up Ida per se, but mostly blocking all of Ida's kicks and just delivering decent punches, like to his armor or just to push him back. Basically, that's it. As they would be fighting, Tsuyu would then come up right behind Ida, touching the bomb, winning the exercise for the hero team, and yeah. All Might would then ask after the match, "Is there anything they could have done better?" And as Momo would then say, "Midoriya could have used that form earlier and would have been able to take down Bakugo much faster." And as All Might would then say, "Yes," but as Deku would then say, "I could have taken him down much faster, but that form has a time limit and I want to conserve it." As everyone would look on and say, "Oh, so that's why he didn't transform," until the very last minute. And as everyone would then, as the class would then end with this. Deku would then be walking home with Ida and them, Ida, Ochako, and Froppy, or Sue in this case. And when Bakugo would then come up behind Deku saying, "Next time I'll win." And as he cries a little bit, after losing to Deku, after losing really for the first time in his life, he would then say that to Deku, as Deku would then say, "Sure you will, in a million years." As Bakugo would hear this, he would get mad, but as he would see the smirk on Deku's face, he would then start to smirk as well, saying, "Bring it on, you damn nerd." As Deku would then say, "Bring it on, jerk." As they would both stare at each other, Bakugo would then leave. He would have respected Deku in this sense, because, well, Deku has enough drive to go against him, and this might hurt his pride that he lost to Deku of all people. He would still respect him and his strength at this point. So, Bakugo would be a lot more. Bakugo and Deku's relationship would have been established as a rivalry at this point, a real rivalry instead of what they are in the original canon. But after this, Deku will then go to the station with his friends, and they will all split up with Deku walking to his house. Deku will be walking home. Out of nowhere, he will be attacked by another werewolf. As this werewolf will be attacking Deku, Deku will then say, "Can we talk this out? I don't know you. I don't know if I did anything to you. Or are you out of control right now?" As the werewolf then say, "I'm not out of control, kid. I'm just here to kill you." As the werewolf would be attacking Deku, Deku would be fighting back until he would realize he needs to take this fight seriously. He would then go into his full werewolf form, and he would, beat the ever-living stuffing out of this other werewolf. This werewolf would be on the ground, with Deku transforming back into his normal form. Deku would then say, "Are you done? Why'd you attack me?" As the werewolf would be lying on the ground while Deku thinks he's down for the count. This werewolf would then jump up at Deku saying, "Got you, kid." As the werewolf would be coming at Deku, Deku not being in his full wolf form or even in his in between wolf form, would be attacked. As the wolf would then swipe at Deku, ripping open his arm, just leaving a scar on his arm. Two other werewolves would then show up. These would be Misha and Tokuma. Misha would then run towards Deku as the werewolf would be attacking him, pulling him and pushing him out of harm's way. As she would then do that, Tokuma would then come charging at the other werewolf, putting his claws and sinking them into the other wolf's chest, pulling out his heart and killing him. I know that's pretty graphic, but yeah, this is war we're talking about here, people. If you're not, seriously, if you are just a kid, stop watching, because this series might get a little bit bloody. But anyway, he would then pull out his heart, leaving the other werewolf dead on the ground. As Deku would then say, "What the hell, you guys? You didn't need to kill him." And as Misha and Tokuma would then say, "We had to, Deku. You'll learn a lot about our world. And if we didn't do that, he will have come back to kill you still." As Deku would then say, "What are you guys talking? Why are you even here?" As Tokuma would say, "We're here to pick you up, Deku." As Deku would then say, "What? Why?" And as Tokuma and Misha would then say, "We'll answer questions once we're all together. Go get your clothes changed and report to our base, basically." Their base being, here. This is their base. As Deku would then arrive at their... den. Den sounds much better for wolves than base. Deku would then arrive at their den, saying hi to Fenrir and asking him what the hell is going on. Fenrir would then say, "A war, Deku, and you've been thrown right in the middle of it." As Deku would say, "What's going on?" Across the way, like a few hundred miles away, or 1,000 miles away, the wolf prior to this would be in a very snowy forest. He would then say, "The attack went off." And as this figure, she would then ask, "Did he succeed?" And as this werewolf would then say, "No, he was killed." And as she would then say, "So the impure has backbone." As this werewolf would then say, "No, he failed to kill it. He let his guard down and would have been killed if Misha and Tokuma weren't there to stop the werewolf." And as she would then say, "Oh, so, no backbone. A coward. I wonder why Fenrir would have picked that boy. Or any human to become a werewolf. Weak creatures that totally reliant on their quirks." they have no idea what true power is. And that's this. Yeah, seriously, you guys come up with a name for this guy. He will be like the main villain wolf, but basically, I don't want to keep referring to him as this werewolf. So, you guys come up with a good name, and I'll use it. But come up with a simple name. But anyway, as the werewolf would then say, I have gathered the troops. And as this female werewolf would then say, where are they? And he would then say, come out, men. As all the werewolves would then show up right behind him, right in front of him. And she would then say, good. And as the werewolf on screen would then say, so, what is our next plan, mistress? And as the werewolf would then peer from behind the shadows, with piercing blue eyes, she would then say, to end Fenrir, and for me to sit on the throne as the werewolf queen. And that is it, you guys. Oh my god. Honestly, I have a lot planned for this series. So, yeah. I really want to keep going with this, you guys. I have a lot of plans for the series, and especially for her. Imagine what I'm going to be able to do with this. I'm going to have a werewolf war, having her men just go all over the place, causing trouble, and even, having werewolf disputes, such as how pureblood werewolves are werewolves that are born instead of created, hate werewolves that are created, look down upon them, and they hate humans. I'm going with this whole werewolves trying to take over the world thing here. Tell me what you guys think. If you guys were confused of anything I did, comment down below and I will explain to you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I can really use it. We are on the road to 2,000 and we will be there very soon. So, how about you click that subscribe button and get me there a lot faster. But anyway, again, comment down below any ideas you have, any misunderstandings I made in the video, or anything you just simply missed and want an explanation about. So yeah, again, comment full moon down below if you've watched to this point, and if you have, you'll know this. Next video to come out will be What If Asa Had Solo Leveling Part 2, and that will either come next week or this week. Still working on it. But anyway, I am rambling on here. Without any further ado, this has been King Majin, signing out. Peace.